Everyone, thank you for being here for this next meeting. We have Francesco Rabellino from Zardetto. Francesco is the export manager for United States for Zardetto. And Francesco, I'll leave you the panel now. Explain, do your presentation, and we have the questions in the end. So do not worry about the question now. At the end, I will ask you the question that we received. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Go.
Thank you, Marcello. Hello, everyone. I hope everybody is safe and sound and in good spirits. As you can see, I'm coming to you from Veneto. Well, only about 4,100 miles. But I just found out from Google Earth and from Waze that I'm only 18 miles from Verona. Well, Verona, New Jersey, but still. Anyhow, I hope I can bring you the same magic, talking about some the amazing bubbles that Zardetto produces. So, as you know, the Prosecco category exploded many years ago, several years ago at least, and became, you know, very the strongest category of Italian wines, actually being Prosecco, the leading force of the Italian success in America. It's huge production. I was reading from 2008, when the year before the DOC was extended, there were about 100 million bottles produced. Now there's 600 million. So it's an amazing success story. Of course, became very, very crowded category, but I am very proud to be working and representing one of the historical brands, a true pioneer of the Prosecco world, Zardetto Winery. So Zardetto has been making wine for 4 generations, and it's been getting some great acknowledgements and awards since the 1930s. It's a winery that specializes in sparkling wines only. We don't do anything else. Located in one of the most prestigious places of the historical area of Prosecco, Conegliano. As you know, Conegliano was home to the first enological school in Italy from 1876. So a lot of history and tradition there. Anyway, so it's a history of a legacy of passion, of know-how, of clear focus and clairvoyance. And it started again many years ago, but the common thread was always the respect for the selection of the best fruit possible, respect for the fermentation times, the selection, the research on the selection of the best yeast to use, and also how to select the distribution so that always when it went after the best possible audience. Started in Italy, of course, with best wine bars and restaurants, and Zardetto became one of the ambassadors of Prosecco all over the world. So this history crosses us in 1984 because Zardetto was one of the very first to be imported in the States, again in 1984, and has enjoyed a tremendous reputation of high quality wine since then, receiving many accolades and many awards. I just want to mention in 2015, Monica Lerner from Wine Advocate defines Zardetto as the winery of reference in the sub area of Conegliano. So that's, I think, very prestigious. Anyway, the modern era of Zardetto Winery goes back to the 1960s, but very significant in 2018, Zardetto became part of a bigger entity of an Italian company called Latenzia. And Latenzia has been investing lot of resources in bringing Zardetto up to where it belongs in the marketplace. So starting with creating a, so Zardetto's winery is located in Conegliano, as I said, and it's still there. And this historical winery is used for the production of DOCG wines, Conegliano, Valdobbiadene, DOCG, Superiore. But we have added a bigger state-of-the-art winery right outside of the Treviso province, to be exact, in a place called Prata di Pordenone, which is less than 1 mile from the border of Treviso province in Pordenone province, which is in Friuli. However, there we make all the volume items, including the DOC wine, the sparkling rosé, the private cuvée, and we'll go over, all of these in order. Another very important change was that we realized that Zardetto needed a new face, a new visual, needed a change, to become more contemporary. So we have partnered with one of the most prestigious advertising agency in Italy called Robilant, and they are in Milano, to be exact. And we started this journey, this project, choosing something very revolutionary, and I'll show you how it works and what the package looks like. Anyhow, time for me to take you on a different visual, because I want to show you the bottles. So first of all, there you are. Here I am. Back to the U.S. We have. I'm going to talk about the 5 different wines that represent the winery has launched last year, a year from now, in Verona at Vinitaly of 2018. Sorry, 2019. Apologies. So I'm going to divide the wines into categories, so to speak. I want to present 3 that are Proseccos, and one of which is DOC and the other 2 DOCG, and I'll explain exactly why and what it means. And then 2 wines that are made exactly the same way as Prosecco, but they're not technically Prosecco. So we can call them that for different reasons. So just want to show you, we talked about this amazing new package, new revolutionary labels. I'm going to show you 1 bottle, but this applies to 4 of the 5. And basically, there's a lot of detail in this new package. First of all, there's the name of the winery is embossed all around the bottom. The shape is very stylish, as you can see. We have some colors that are deeply tied into how the wine tastes or what the wine represents. But the common thread is that these labels open up a little bit like a Venetian mask during Carnevale to reveal some amazing paintings. So we all know there's a deep connection between art and winemaking, and we want to express with different colors some added emotions. We want to express a multi-sensory experience that will involve all of your senses. Obviously, the sight, because you see the label; texture, because it's a different texture for all the labels. When obviously you open the bottle, you're gonna see. Just gonna show you one. The foil has the same color inside. Very cool detail, and also the top is the same color. A couple of the bottles have some cool phrases on the back, which are in Italian translated into English. This one, for instance, says "Ciao raga, come va?" Hey guys, how you doing? It's a little bit colloquial, but it's a fun moment, to be enjoyed. And these are also very, they open the door to many different applications, because we could use this for contests, we could use for other messages and social media. This is one of the other ones. So let's go in order of presenting the wine. We have, the first one is, as I said, the DOC. DOC is the wider of the two areas where Prosecco is produced. It includes 9 provinces between Veneto and Friuli. The only province that's not included is Verona, but everything else, Veneto and Friuli, are part of the DOC, which is about 5 times bigger than the DOCG in terms of production, 5-to-1 ratio. Again, it's a roughly from the Dolomite to the Venetian to the town of Venice, includes 2 different regions, and there's a lot of variety, of course. So the Prosecco DOCG is, we call it contemporary. It's basically lean and flavorful with the typical Prosecco aromas of apples, citrus, a little bit of apricot. It's a nice creamy feel, some good minerality and sapidity. So it's perfect introductory Prosecco for, great for aperitivo if you want, or it can stand some nice appetizers and seafood dishes, and obviously, any white meat. So it will accompany you a full meal if you wish. In Venice, for instance, Prosecco used to be drank in small glasses called ombre, with the typical Italian appetizer, like the sort of Venetian tapas. We make this wine in 187 also, and also in 1.5. I don't have a bottle, unfortunately, 1.5, but 187 are already in the American market for quite a few months, and they're doing very well. So now we go to the smaller area, which is the DOCG. Now we are in the, take a look at the clock. We are in...
You're doing great, Francesco.
So good. Conegliano side of the DOCG, which goes from left to right from Valdobbiadene to Conegliano, as I said. So this one, the first wine that I showed was Brut in style with about 12 grams of sugar, residual sugar. This one is a little bit sweeter, has about 16 grams. You don't really feel it because, the acidity is a little bit higher. So the difference between DOCG and DOC, you have higher hills. It's very dramatic slopes. So great excursion between night and day temperature, which gives you, finer aromas and more complexity, of course. So here you have something that's more focused on the golden and rennet apples. You have something that's softer and more minerality and more sapid. So you have, a step up in the Prosecco. This one also has a beautiful work of art in which is easier to see under this slide. So again, extra dry DOCG. The third wine is also from the DOCG area, more toward the Valdobbiadene. Golden color. Gold obviously will tell you that it's precious. This is our most high-end wine, as you can see here. The peculiarity of this wine, and now we are back, hope the light works. Now we are back in Brut style, so less sugar than the blue one, and about the same as the DOC. The peculiarity here is that this wine is made with a lot more laborious process, because basically, as you know, Prosecco goes through 2 fermentation, a alcoholic fermentation and the second fermentation to give it la presa di spuma, as we say in Italian, to make it a sparkling wine. So this happened in large stainless steel tanks, huge ones. Once you reach the desired number of atmosphere and a desired sweetness of the wine, you stop it. All of our wines are about over 6 atmospheres of pressure, but this one is kept on the lees, so on the spent yeast, for about 6 months after the second fermentation, during and after the second fermentation. And then after these 6 months, it's also kept for 3 months resting before it's fined and bottled. So it's a long, laborious product of love and of patience, of course. This is our most representative wine. In addition to the typical Prosecco aromas, it also develops a little bit of the qualities that it's used in other type of sparklers. Typically, the bread crust, aromas that are typical of the wines that are aged on the lees. Now, after these wines, which are most representatives, we make two other wines, part of the, I should say three, one of them being the bio organic grapes, which is actually already bottled, has the same theme, but the color is obviously green, and will be at the theater near you very soon, hopefully. And then we have two wines that are not properly Prosecco. This one is the private cuvée. So this one was made basically with the same grape, the Glera, but with a little bit in addition of Moscato and Chardonnay to add a little more depth. Is youthful, very, very user-friendly, soft type of a sparkler that you can use for aperitif or even stand, a variety of foods. And cannot say Prosecco on the label, but it's made exactly the same way with a little less long aging. And then we have the last wine that I'm presenting today, and I hope the time is okay. So we have a rosé sparkler. Ever since the appellation of the 2009 changes in the appellation, you cannot make a rosé Glera, a Prosecco, and call it a rosé and call it Prosecco. Everybody knows that this is about to change, and probably as of the next vintage, they will allow again the producers to make Prosecco with the addition, Glera, with the addition of it looks like Pinot Noir to make Prosecco Rosé again. But for now, we don't have that luxury. So we make this wine with a grape called Raboso, which is typical of the Verona area. It's a grape that is naturally high, have naturally high acidity, and it's great for sparkler. A little bit of rusticity. It has great flavors of raspberry, marasca cherry, blackberry, and it's a fun wine. It can also be drank as an aperitif or accompany some, sushi or even barbecue and pizza, if you will. So we have presented you the line. Zardetto has been, as I said, imported and distributed by Weinbo since 1984, so it's a very solid partnership. It has traditionally done quite better in the on-premise sector. Now, of course, we need to leverage on this opportunity to create new relationship with more stores. And I'm sure with the great history that's behind this, and with the new package, we'll be able to take the winery to the next level.
So, you done with your presentation? You still have other things, or we can go ahead with some questions?
Yeah, we can do questions. I mean.
Okay, so I would like actually a question that comes from me. I would like if you can spend a few minutes to explain to all of us what happened, the big change in the Prosecco appellation in the last few years. Sure. When it got much bigger. So it went a little bit to explain to the group the difference between the.
I'll be brief. So it's me. Yeah. So Prosecco has been known. It's been a very local phenomenon in the past. I come from Italy, from the other side of the Liguria. It was not known when I was younger, but in the Veneto area and especially Venice, it's been around for quite a bit. There's a reference to the name since the late 1700. But anyway, so and it was always something lighter and frizzante, so less carbonation than now. In 1969, it was produced in the Conegliano Valdobbiadene area. In 1969, Prosecco became DOC. Was one of the first DOC in Italy, and that lasted until 2009. In 2009, what was the only Prosecco DOCs were Asolo, which is very close, still in Treviso province, but close to the other, the Conegliano Valdobbiadene. And in 2009, what was the DOC then became DOCG. So DOCG adds a little, garantita, means denominazione di origine controllata e garantita. There are bylaws that make it a little bit stricter to make the wines, lower yield, more controls. So it's it's a guarantee for a higher end product. So what was the DOC now was enlarged to comprehend all of Friuli and most of Veneto. So anything that says Prosecco needs to come from these two regions, and it's obviously the European community guarantees that there's no, fake or no Prosecco coming from other areas. And then the DOC is much larger areas, I said. We're talking about 450 million bottles versus 90 million. So it's about 1:5, the ratio. The area is also much larger, too, about 5 times also. And so it's a different style. Obviously, there's different prices. The DOCG is also, there's also some changes that happened in the last vintage. For instance, you cannot, Prosecco is the largest appellation that has forbidden the use of glyphosate. And this happened in this vintage. They have introduced the extra brut level, so from 0 to 6 grams of residual sugar. So there's a lot going on that will allow the rosé, as I said before. So there are still some changes. Obviously, everybody's going to wonder how much more Prosecco can it be made, because at the rhythm, Prosecco is growing about, for the last 10 years, about 16% a year on average from 2009, since it became DOC. So there's only so many acres that still, can be planted. So we'll see. But
another question for you, Francesco. So because of this big growth of the Prosecco, it's a trend, it's a brand now, Prosecco in general. Do you also think that this was due also to the use of Prosecco now as for cocktails? In the past, except, like you say, in Venice, in some northern part of Italy, that was always used, but you really, correct me if I'm wrong, you didn't see Prosecco as an option to be used in cocktails. Now, in the last, I will say, 5 years, there are in many places in the United States, many bartenders and mixologists, they're using more and more Prosecco. So what do you think about that? And which one of your Prosecco wines, which one you think would be suitable better for cocktails?
Okay.
Which one you would choose?
Yes. So very quickly, yes, the cocktail is definitely one, and thank you for reminding me, one of the factors that has increased the popularity of Prosecco. Other factors, I would say that it's, the soft bubbles, the easy to drink, lighter in alcohol, and, it's a wine that's not only for celebration, but it's, celebrate, simple moments of life, of everyday's life. But yes, the cocktails is a very good point. Obviously, there's cocktails and cocktails. If you use vodka and other strong spirits, I would say that you can certainly go with the private cuvée or even the DOC, if you make something a little more sophisticated, where the taste will come through more, I mean, then you can definitely go into the DOCG category. But otherwise, I would stay within the entry-level wines. They have enough. They have enough character. They have enough presence in terms of the perlage, the persistency of the of the bubbles, that it can definitely stand. And I'm not just talking spritz, which in Italy is the most popular of them all, or in America probably mimosa, even though I think the spritz is taking its place in terms of popularity. But I've seen some very creative examples of cocktails in some of the contests that we're doing, and I'm very pleased to have seen that.
Good. Thank you, Francesco. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone, so much for attending. And again, hope you are all well, and hope you come back stronger. And next Finitaly will definitely be behind your picture.
Thank you so much, Francesco, for your presentation. It was perfect. I hope to see you soon.